Welcome dear students. In this video we will cover topic organization of data, and in this topic I am going to explain you meaning of organization of data, classification of data, and we are going to discuss the basis of classification. We are also going to discuss types of variable and series and its types. So I hope that you will understand this properly. You will watch this video properly. Let us start. First of all, let me tell you the meaning of organization of data, what we mean by the organization of data. And you all know that when we collect data, when we collect information, that's in the raw form, that is raw data, and it is very much important to organize that data, because I already told you when we define statistics in singular sense, that is, it is the process of collection, organization, presentation, analysis of data. So the second stage is organization of data. Organization of data refers to the arrangement of figures, that is data, in such a way so that mass of similar data may be facilitated. So we arrange we arrange the data on the basis of its similarities, and the further analysis may be possible. When we arrange the data, then only we will be able to analyze that data. Raw data cannot be analyzed because we can't get the results from that raw information. When that is mixed data, so we will not be able to compare. We will not be able to get the conclusions. Now, what is classification of data? Rather, sometimes we change these words interchangeably, organization or classification. But the main difference here is, when we talk about classification, it is the organization of data in groups. In groups or classes, we can say. So when we organize data in different classes, in different groups, according to their characteristics, it is known as classification of data. According to Conner, classification is the process of arranging things in groups or classes according to their resemblances. So according to their similarities, when we classify data, when we organize data, uh, when we arrange data in groups or classes, so that is known as classification of data. Now, basis of what are the objectives of classification? Why we classify data? Why we arrange that data? First is to simplify the complex data. When we are having information with us that is complex in data, that is in the raw form. So to make it simple, we classify that information, we classify the data, and to facilitate understanding, when we make it simple, so it is easy to understand, and it is also easy to compare, because when we arrange on the basis of their resemblances, when we arrange on the basis of their similarities, so it is easy to compare the information, compare the data, and to make analysis and interpretation easy. And one more is to arrange and put the data according to their common characteristics. So when we talk about their characteristics, we arrange data according to their resemblances, according to their similarities, according to their characteristics. So this classification, this is the objective of classification. Now the basis of classification. The basis of classification are, first is geographical or spatial classification. So when we arrange the things, when we arrange the data on the basis of geographical location, like simple example is there, production of say rice in different states, Punjab, Haryana, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, J&K. So this is a geographical area. So we are classifying this information on the basis of location, geographical area. So it is geographical or spatial classification. Chronological or temporal. chronological or temporal means when we are classify data on the basis of say time. So for example, same example, production of rice, but in last 10 years, or GDP of India in last 2 decades. Okay, so this is the temporal or chronological classification of data. Now the qualitative. What do you mean by the qualitative classification? When we classify data on the basis of quality, so that is qualitative. We are having in this it is simple and manifold. Two types are there. Simple is one and another is manifold. Let me explain you this with an example. For example, say workers working in a factory. So let us take an example of a factory, and a number of workers are working here. We can classify those workers like rural workers and urban workers. How many people are from rural areas and how many people are from urban areas who are working in that factory. Further, we can further divide that rural male and rural female, urban male and urban female workers. Then we can further divide that in rural male, educated and uneducated, in rural female, educated and uneducated. Same is the case with urban also. Urban male, educated and uneducated, urban female, educated and uneducated. So this is manifold. And third one is quantitative. Another is quantitative classification. What we mean with quantitative classification? When the classification is done on the basis of numerical values, that is known as numerical classification. And in this case, a number of classes are framed, keeping in view the lowest and the highest value as well. So when we talk about, so this quantitative classification is done on the basis of numerical value, like say annual profit, say range of the profit, wages, range of the wages, say how many people are falling in between 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 30,000, 30,000 to 40,000. So this is quantitative classification. And in this book, we mostly deal with this quantitative classification of data. So as per your syllabus, we are dealing with quantitative classification of another concept data. Here is that is variable, and you might know the meaning of this variable. Variable is a phenomenon which is capable of being measured. First thing is that which should be measured, and one more thing is there, one more feature is there, that is which changes its value over time is called variable. So when a phenomenon is capable of being measured, when we are able to measure that and it changes its value with the passage of time, or we can say we change its value over time, we can call it variable. And variable means whose value changes, varies. That is why it is known as variable. And its opposite constant, whose value does not change. So there are two types of variables. One is discrete variable, another is continuous variable. And discrete variable is one which changes its value in jumps, which increase or decrease in jumps, or in complete numbers, like number of students in class 11 in say past 5 years. For example, in 2015 the number of students in class 11, the total roll was say 150. In 2016, say it is 160. 2017 140. 2018 100 say 80, and 2019 it is 190. Say 2000 it is 200 students. So here the variable changes its value in complete numbers, 180, 170, 175, 176, or number of cars in the showroom. Example is given here. So here we cannot say 150 and a half student, or 20 and a half car. So when the value changes in complete numbers in jumps, that is known as discrete variable, and continuous variable when the when variable changed its value, or when the value of a variable changes not in jumps but it changes continuously, or in fractions. Simply we can say when the value of a variable takes fractional value, when it changes in fractions, we can say that this is continuous variable. Like height of boy 5 feet 5 inch, 5 feet 3 inch, 5 feet 1 inch, and this is in fraction. And weight 50 kg, 50 and half kg, 55 kg and half, 57 kg. Okay, so here it changes in fractions also. So this is continuous variable. The one more concept is there, that is series and its types. It is statistical series. Okay, when we talk about series, it means statistical series, and that means it is actually the arrangement, it is the classification of data, that is quantitative classification of data, we can say. As I already told you in this book, as per your syllabus, we deal with the quantitative classification of data. So series is actually the quantitative classification. It is the arrangement of raw data in different classes according to given order or sequence. So when we arrange the data according to given order or sequence, that is called as series. Now the types of series. Series has been divided into two broad headings, that individual series and frequency series. Further, this frequency series is of two types, discrete series and continuous series. And continuous series has been further divided into inclusive series, exclusive series, cumulative frequency series, and mid-value series. There is one more type like open-end series. So let me explain you these types of series one by one. Here I expect that you are known to this concept because you have already done this in class 10th in measures of central tendency. Now let me explain you once again. Individual series. Individual series is that type of series in which items are listed singly. That is, frequency is not associated to the items. Individual series we can have we can arrange that according to serial number. Like example is here, marks obtained by the students of class 11 is 30, 40, 35, 38 and 40. So we can arrange it roll number 1, 2, 3, 4. So arrangement will be 40, 30, 38, 35. That is, roll number 1 got 40, roll number 2 got 30, roll number 3 got 38 and 4 got 35. So this is as per the roll number, as per the serial number we can say. And according to ascending or descending order, we can further arrange it ascending order, descending order. If we are arranging it in ascending order, it is 17, 18, 19, 19 and 20. And in descending order, it will be 20, 19, 19, 18, 17. So here you can see items are listed singly. There is no frequency associated with the observations. What we mean with the frequency? Frequency is number of occurrences, number of repeatances. Okay, so let us move forward. Frequency series. A frequency series is that series in which there is frequency associated with the observations, or we can say that contains frequency. And I already told you there are two types of frequency series. One is discrete series, another is continuous series, and discrete series is also known as frequency array. And discrete series is that type of series in which exact measurement of items are clearly shown. Exact measurement of items is clearly shown. Like we are having example here, marks obtained by the students of class 11 in economics in UT1. Say in previous exam, let me assume it is 20, 25, 26, 30, 35, 33, 25, 33, 30, 35, 35, 30, 20, 35, 26 and 26. If we write these marks obtained by the students in that form, then it is individual series. But we can write it in other way also. Marks obtained 20, 25, 26, 30, 33 and 30. You can see this table. So these are the marks obtained. And number of students. 2 students got 20 marks. 2 students got 25 marks. 3 students got 26. 3 students got 30. 2 students got 33 and 4 students got 35. Total number of students it is 16. Total observations are 16. 16 observations are there. So when there are, say for example, there are 200 students, and if we write say 20, 25, 26, the marks obtained by the students, so 200 terms will be there. So it is easy for us to compile that in discrete series or in continuous series. We can change this series into discrete or continuous series. So here the discrete series, here it is that exact measurement is possible. But in case of continuous series, exact measurement is not possible. In that we are having class intervals. But here we don't have class intervals. So numbers are there, observations are there, 20, 25, and the number and the frequencies associated with these observations. That is number of repeatances or number of occurrences. Now the continuous or frequency distribution series. As I already told you, this series make use of various class intervals to represent the range of values of the data under consideration. Example is given here, same example, marks obtained by the students 21, 24, 26. So we are having these observations. So we can organize it, or we can make a series. This, no doubt this is already a series, but this is individual series. So to compile it or to make it more simple, we will convert it into continuous series. 20 to 25. How many students are falling in this range? So there are 4 students. 25 to 30. How many students are falling in this range? 4 students. 30 to 35 and 35 to 40. There are 5 students and 5 students in both these class intervals. So this is here. This is continuous series. What is the difference between discrete and continuous series here? In discrete series, exact measurement is shown, but here we don't have exact measurement. We know that students falling between 20 to 25, there are 4 students, but we don't know the marks of those students. Those 4 students, say in those 4 students, some may got 21, some may 22, some may got 23, 24, someone may got say 20 as well. So we don't know the exact marks obtained in this type of series. That is why exact measurement is not possible in continuous series. And these class intervals are framed according to the lowest and maximum value of the given data. You can see in this series, lowest is 21 marks and highest is 39. So we will class interval will be framed according to these limits. So the lower limit of first class interval, you can see it is 20, and the upper limit of last class interval it is 40. So all these observations, all these values are falling in this range, and we have divided, or we have class width is there, and we are having class width of 5, 20 to 25. Class width is actually the difference between the upper limit and lower limit, or we can say class size. Now the types of frequency distribution series. First is inclusive series, and I hope that you know that what we mean with inclusive series, because you might have done number of questions in class 10 on this type of series, and on exclusive series as well. So let me tell you what we mean with inclusive series. Inclusive series is that type of series in which both the limits of a class interval are included. You can see we are having example 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39 and 40 to 49. You can see here, if the observation is if the observation is 10, it will fall in first class interval. If the observation is 19, it will fall in first class interval, and any observation in between 10 and 19, it will fall in first class interval. In second class interval, we will be having from 20 to 29, And here you can see the upper limit of first class interval, it is not same to the lower limit of second class interval. So if you want to convert inclusive series into exclusive series, what you will do, you will add 0.5 to the upper limit of first class interval, and you will subtract 0.5 from the lower limit of second class interval. So that means what you will do, you will subtract 0.5 from the lower class interval and add 0.5 to the upper class interval to make it exclusive series. Now exclusive series. Exclusive series, why it is called exclusive series? Because in this series, one of the limit, say lower limit or upper limit, it is excluded, and usually we exclude upper limit. Say class interval is there, example is given there, 10 to 20. If the observation is 20, it will not fall in first class interval, it will fall in second class interval. Why? Because we include only lower limit, and our upper limit is excluded. So 19 will fall in first class interval, 10 to 20, 17, 18, 16, 15, 10, 11, 12, these all will fall in first class interval. But 20 will fall in second class interval, 20, 21 up to 29, these will fall in second, and 30 will fall in third. Because if you see this, the upper limit of first class interval is same as that of lower limit of other class interval. So we have to exclude it. Either you can exclude it in the first class interval. If you exclude it in first class interval, it will be, then you are excluding upper limit. If you exclude it in second class interval and you are writing it in first class interval, that means you are excluding lower limit. But usually for uniformity, we usually exclude upper limit. Now the cumulative frequency series. As you already know, the cumulative frequency is summation of frequencies. There are two types of cumulative frequencies, less than and more than type. And I expect that you know that less than and more than type, and we are going to solve a number of questions of this cumulative frequency type as well. If you are having a certain doubts in that, we can explain this cumulative frequency at that time when we are going to solve questions on the basis of this cumulative frequency. 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and 40 to 50. Here 10 to 20, that means less than 20, 4 observations are there. And from 20 to 30, there are in exclusive series, you can see from 20 to 30 there are 5. So if we check less than 30, how many are there? It will be 10 to 20 and 20 to 30. Both will be less than 30. So these will be 9. 4 plus 5, this is 9. And from 30 to 40, there are 8. And what will be the number of observations less than 40? It will be 4 plus 5 plus 8, that is 17. You can see 30 to 40, it is 17, cumulative frequency. And 40 to 50 are 5. What will be the number of observations less than 50? It will be 4 plus 5 plus 8 plus 5, that is 23. So when we add up the cumulative frequencies, we will get the cumulative frequency. Another is mid-value series. Mid-value series here is, mid-values will be given and the frequencies will be associated to the mid-value. Mid-values of what? Mid-values of class intervals, midpoints of class intervals. See, in exclusive series we are having example 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, and 40 to 50. Let me convert into mid-value series. 10 to 20, the mid value of 10 to 20 is 50, that is 10 plus 20 divided by 2, this is the mid value. 30 divided by 2, it is 15. Mid value of 20 minus 30 divided by 2, it is the mid value of this, 25. Next 30 to 40, it will be 30 plus 40 divided by 2, 70 divided by 2 is 35. And 40 to 50, it is 40 plus 50 divided by 2, that is 45. So these are the mid values. And whenever we talk about, say, when you are calculating mean, median, or mode, at that time, what we have to do, we have to convert this mid-value series into class interval series, into exclusive series. How you can convert this mid-value into into exclusive series. First, you have to deduct, for lower limit you have to deduct half of the difference between lower limit and upper limit of the class interval. For example, mid value is 15. So lower limit L1 is lower limit. Here if we talk about lower limit will be equal to midpoint minus half of the class interval. Half of the class interval is 1 by 2 into 10, that is 5. 15 minus 5, it will be 10. And for upper limit you have to add L2, that is upper limit will be equal to midpoint plus half of the class interval, 10 to 20, that is 10 is there, so half of the 10 is 5. 15 plus 5 is 10, 20. 10 20 first aega, and second it will be 25 minus 5, that is 20. 25 plus 5, that is 30. Third will be 35 minus 5, that is 30, and 35 plus 5, 30 to 40 aega. And one more is 45 minus 5, lower limit will be 40, and 45 plus 5, upper limit will be 50. So this is mid value series. We are having open ended series as well. Like for example, we are having a question like less than 20. Less than 20 may be any number, and at the upper limit we are having upper limit of last class interval greater than 50. A greater than 50 will be any number. So this is open ended series. These are closed ended series. If we talk about 60, if the observation is 60 will not fall in 40 to 50, so that will not be counted. But when we talk about greater than 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, that will be counted. So at that time we call that open ended series. This completes your topic organization of data. I hope you will watch this video properly and you will understand all the concepts, and if there are some doubts, you can clear your doubts during online classes. Thank you very much.